Hey guys, Britt here. Welcome to End Times Bible Prophecy. Make sure to hit the subscribe, like, and share buttons. Well, how close is the mark of the beast? Now, there's no way we can know that for sure. We certainly can't say, well, it's the mark of the beast is coming in X number of years or months or days. But one thing we can say for sure is that our generation is the first one that could see the mark of the beast implemented outside of supernatural means. So think about the technology is in place today to implement a mark of the beast system. Previous generations of Christians couldn't point to that. And guys, we're seeing this mark of the beast system, the foundation for it being put in place. We're seeing it take root right now. And when we look at all the things happening in the world, all the signs that Jesus and the prophets said to look for converging right now in our day and time, that indicates to me that we are very close to the tribulation period. And we shouldn't be surprised to see these things that we're going to look at today in this video happening right now, because we would expect the stage to be set when the tribulation begins for a mark of the beast system to be rolled out and implemented. As many people have pointed out, it's not as if we'll get to the, well, we won't. I don't plan to be here during the tribulation. Hopefully you don't either. But it's not as if the world will witness the Antichrist, the false prophet, just say, hey, we should implement this mark of the beast system. Let's put together a project to make that happen. No, it's going to be something they simply turn on because everything they need to implement it already exists and has already been rolled out. So let's take a look at some of the things that are happening right now in our world. And let's start with this one right here. This is from Hedge. It says 15 state officials warn Bank of America about debanking of Christians. It says a group of 15 financial officials from 13 states sent a notice to Bank of America raising concerns about the institution's debanking of Christians. Quote, we write to express our concerns over Bank of America's troubling track record of politicized debanking. Bank of America's debanking policies and practices threaten the company's financial health, its reputation with customers, our nation's economy, and the civil liberties of everyday Americans. We are especially troubled by Bank of America's track record of discriminating against religious ministries. Notable examples include Memphis-based charity Indigenous Advance Ministries, the Timothy II Project, and Christian author and speaker Lance Wallnau. And then it says Bank of America provided vague reasons for the closure of these accounts, claiming the organization's activities exceeded the institution's, quote, risk tolerance, and that it no longer wanted to serve its business type. Quote, so guys, no doubt this is going on. They are targeting those groups and individuals that are perceived as a threat to the establishment. We've seen this globally. We've seen it with the Canadian truckers. We've seen it with Nigel Farage. We've seen it with General Flynn. We've seen it with other politically connected individuals, many of them linked to former President Trump. This is something they're putting in place, and we've seen a lot of these policies. So when Bank of America talks about risk tolerance, there's pressure being applied on these banks by governments under the idea that money laundering is taking place and there are these criminal enterprises taking place. And so these particular individuals, they're high risk. And so the bank gets threatened with all of these penalties by the government if they allow certain activities to take place. And so they go, hey, we set up this risk tolerance program and you don't fit within our threshold, so we're going to get rid of you. So they're pushing you out the door as a customer. Of course, all the other banks are doing the same thing because they're all facing the same regulations. So this is essentially coming down from governments. and pushing this on. And we should be telling banks to stand up against this, because this is the road to global tyranny. And guys, we see more and more of this stuff rolled out. Again, this is the ability to turn off somebody's banking. This is exactly what we read about in Revelation chapter 13, the ability to buy and sell. If you are shut off from the banking system, well, you're going to have a very hard time living and operating in today's modern world. How about this right here? This is from Australia. It says ABA supports expansion of digital ID system. The association believes it will further protect Australians from cybercrime and scammers, right? So all of these things they're rolling out there to protect people. We're here to protect people from these evildoers and these money launderers and people engaged in criminal activities. But really, they're talking about you and me when it comes down to it. Because they already have the means to go after and pursue people involved in criminal activity. They don't need to be implementing all of these various measures. So this says the Australian Banking Association, ABA, has expressed its support for legislation that aims to expand Australia's current digital identity system. According to ABA CEO Anna Bligh, the voluntary nationwide digital ID will be an important tool that banks can use. They can use it, right? We don't intend to force people to use it right now, but they can use it, right? That's how all these things start. In order to further protect the privacy of Australians as well as their data. So don't you love their 1984 Orwellian language? We're doing this for your privacy and to protect your data, right? We're not doing this to control every single aspect of your entire life and have complete and utter power and control over you. No, it's for your privacy, the protection of your privacy and your data. It's for your benefit, right? It says this will be another layer of protection available to Australians in situations where they verify their identity online, including when they are interacting with a bank. So if you want to interact with a bank, well, you better have a digital ID. And they'll go, oh, no. It's for those who choose to have the digital ID. It'll make things faster and more convenient for them. We don't intend to make it permanent, because this is going to be a requirement going forward that you have this digital ID, that you conform to all of their banking practices, or else you get simply turned off and shut off. And we see this move, all these types of measures that feed into building up a system that will enable the mark of the beast to take hold. We see movements away from cash, lots of governments putting bans on how much cash you can use, how much you can deposit, how much you can use to make a transaction. We had a video a few weeks ago with, I believe it was Christine Lagarde, the European Central Bank president, saying, well, if you buy something with 1,000 euros in cash, you're gonna go to jail. We're gonna get you, right? And of course, as inflation takes hold, that becomes less and less until it gets to a point where you won't be able to buy anything with cash, because 1,000 euros might get you a piece of chewing gum, right? It may not get you much in the very near future at the rate inflation is going. So they're putting all this pressure on the use of cash and trying to make everything digital, get people used to that, and we see that everywhere. So here we have a whole series of stories. This one says Buckshaw Village Cafe, cappuccinos sparks debate after going cashless. That's in the UK. Then we have here in Australia, so this isn't all of McDonald's, but this particular one, or maybe all in Australia. We know Australia is ground zero where they want to roll out this cashless society. They've even implemented it into their laws. By 2030, the banks will be completely cashless and checkless in Australia. So you will have to use their central bank digital currency at that point. It says McDonald's fires up customers with cashless move. It becomes the latest business to shun cash at certain outlets, with angry customers calling on others to boycott the chain. Unfortunately, these boycotts rarely work. Most people go along with this willingly, as we'll look at in just a second. Not just willingly, excitedly. Here we have from South Africa, Woolworths. Cashless payments sparks mixed reactions, technological fears, and apocalyptic speculations, right? Is it really that speculative to say that the government is going to use this as a tool of oppression? Is it really that speculative? I don't think so. About this from Wall Street Silver, it says this Wendy's in England has gone fully cashless. And here you can see on the door, card payments only. This will soon be the norm as they push this digital ID, which we just read about in Australia, central bank digital currency on everyone. You will be fully tracked and your purchases will be limited and controlled. And again, another call for a boycott. Refuse to do business with these companies. The problem is, this is widespread. More and more companies are going this route. And again, a lot of banks, as banks have these regulations from the government put upon them, they will push those down to their customers. So if a local entrepreneur is told, well, you can't deposit cash here, well, then they're probably going to stop accepting cash, because if they have large amounts of cash, thieves probably are aware that I'm one of these few businesses taking cash, and I'm going to be a target for a robbery. And you know what? It's just sort of easier to do this way, so I'll just go along. And most will go along, most individuals will go along, most businesses will go along, and this will get pushed on the rest of us. Here we have Wall Street Silver, again, showing some people who were excitingly using these Palm Pay technologies. And they're thinking, wow, look at that. Oh, isn't that amazing? Look at this woman right here. She's just mesmerized. It's unbelievable that I can use this technology. No clue whatsoever what this leads to, that she will be their digital slave when all is said and done. And guys, they're pushing this globally, and they're pushing the propaganda. Let's take a look at this article I ran across. Total propaganda piece. It says, when cash is the enemy, the potential of a cashless Nigeria remains untapped, right? So it's untapped potential. If only they wouldn't have, if you remember, they rolled out a central bank digital currency in Nigeria called the e-Naira, and people rejected it. They said, I don't want this. I'm going to stick with my cash. They didn't get the adoption that they wanted, but guys, that hasn't stopped them. They're going to keep pushing forward. Again, the propaganda is in full swing. Take a look at some of the things they're saying in this article. It's really over the top. It says, when it comes to the role of physical currency in Nigeria's evolving financial landscape, there are mounting costs and challenges that can no longer be ignored. While cash remains king and the dominant form of payment, the expenses and burdens associated with its usage are becoming increasingly apparent. So, this is pretty much, the form of payment that we've used throughout human history. Pieces of paper, the currency that we use, is a relatively new idea, a new development to cut down on the burden of having to carry gold and silver around, gold and silver and copper coins. But now, it's so much of a burden. Have you ever thought of it as it's just so burdensome to have to hold some cash in your hand. Oh, it's just a burden. That's what they're selling, right? And they'll sell a lot of people on this idea. It says, from the production and distribution of physical currency to the cost of handling and securing cash, the financial burden is substantial, right? So it's just, running that printing press, it's, oh, what a burden. I mean, the cost of that is just enormous, right? Really? Research has shown that cash-based economies like Nigeria face transaction costs that are 4 to 10 times higher than those relying on digital payments. This results in the loss of millions of dollars each year, funds that could be redirected to more productive uses or invested in vital sectors such as healthcare and education. They forgot, all they've done is forgot to add for the children on the end of that, right? Because all of this propaganda, when they're pushing this stuff on you and they want to get you emotional and have you go, yeah, I'm for that. How can I stand against that? They usually add for the children, right? For the children. And if you stand against it, well, then you must not care about the children, right? It says these complexities not only hinder the efficiency of transactions, but they also contribute to the growth of an informal economy, long queues, and frustration at ATM terminals. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've used ATMs for years and years. I've never really experienced a high level of frustration with ATMs, but they're telling me that's a problem. And digital currency, central bank digital currency that enslaves me is the solution to that inconvenience and frustration that I face. As reminders of the limitations of cash, while businesses struggle to manage the large sums of money, leaving them vulnerable to theft and errors, right? So, of course, there can never be a computer error, only errors with counting currency. And there can never be any sort of online theft, right? There's no way you'll check your account and it's all gone one day. That's never happened to anybody. Nobody's ever had their identity stolen or been subject to phishing attempts that end up stealing their entire retirement savings. Oh yeah, we read about those things all the time. So all of this, guys, is just full court press propaganda because they want to roll out this digital currency system. They want to roll out a world filled with their central bank digital currency. Why? Well, it should be very clear by now. Well, this is why right here. So this Zero Hedge article tells us Germany's top security queen pushes government dragnet to track right-wing extremist financing. So they want to use this for control. As we just said, control over every aspect of your life, control over their political opponents. It's a way to shut down any non-establishment players that try to gain any bit of power that detracts from the power they currently enjoy. So this says, with Europe's open borders and green globalism resulting in a massive wave of populism, Germany's top security czar, and I'll stop right there because the United States has these positions, these czars, drug czar. And I think, supposedly these are democratic institutions in Germany and the United States and these other supposedly democratic countries. Why do they have czars, positions known as czars, when the meaning of czar is king, monarch, absolute control, huge power? I thought that concentrated power wasn't supposed to be there, but that shows the mindset of these people. They create these positions because that's what they dream of attaining. They want that absolute power to exact upon other people. And that's exactly what this top security czar wants. It says she said on Tuesday she aims to make it easier to track the finances of so-called right-wing extremists. A catch-all phrase for people who, quote, don't agree with us, right? who would be surveilled by bureaucrats that would undoubtedly abuse their new tools. And it says, see Justin Trudeau, who we know has done exactly that. And look at what happened to the Canadian truckers when they dared to protest against their government. Guys, they want to roll this whole system out globally, and here is your evidence. So again, we've looked at this before. This is from the Atlantic Council website. Again, this is not a good guy council, right? They want this stuff. They want to roll this out, and they're tracking it, and they're saying, oh, look at this. Isn't this wonderful? Look at all. Oh, look, we've got 3 launches here, and pilot programs are in green, and all development programs are in blue. And of course, we talked recently about Jerome Powell said, we are not even thinking about central bank digital currency here at the Fed. And you think, well, how come the Atlantic Council has development in blue here at the United States saying, oh, whoops, it says CBDC status development, use case, retail and wholesale. That means you and I are going to have to use it. Architecture, intermediated, cross-border projects. So they want to make it global. And of course, the President of the United States issued an executive order demanding that it be studied and plans be put together for it. But Jerome Powell says, we haven't even thought about it yet. Oh, they've thought about it, guys. They've thought about it all over the world. They're trying to turn this whole map right here into launched. They want this whole map to be this color, and they want to integrate it all together and have their global system of control. And that shouldn't be any surprise to you. It shouldn't shock you to know that, because we read about that right here. Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 through 17 says, he required everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to be given a mark on the right hand or on the forehead, and no one could buy or sell anything without that mark, which was either the name of the beast or the number representing his name. So guys, we know where all of this is headed. Who knows which central bank digital currency will be predominant, or what system integrating them will be the one at the end that dominates all the others. All we know is we see these things being laid out. We see the groundwork being laid out, the foundation put in place for a system that's in place in many areas of the world right now that is indistinguishable in function from the mark of the beast that we read about in Revelation chapter 13. It gives governments the ability to simply flip a switch and determine who can buy and who can sell, and under what circumstances. It can be programmable, and it can be used to control and incentivize and punish every behavior, every aspect of a person's life. So this gives ultimate control to the government, whoever is in control of this type of mechanism. And guys, they want to roll it out right now. They're just waiting for the opportunity to do all that. Now, again, central bank digital currencies, cashless payments, digital IDs, all the things we're looking at now in these stories, they are not the mark of the beast. As it's been brought up by many people, the mark of the beast requires a beast. It means the Antichrist has to be here, in control, in power. The tribulation has not begun. The Antichrist is not in power right now, but he will be in power one day. And this system is being put in place so that all he will have to do is simply adopt it and then put out this decree that he be worshipped, or else, well, your switch is going to be flipped and you'll be turned off. So there's no danger in the mark of the beast today, right now. I know a lot of people have said, well, what if I accidentally take the mark of the beast? You cannot accidentally take the mark of the beast. First off, if you're a Christian right now watching this, as of right now, The rapture has not occurred. The tribulation has not taken place. I do not believe you will be here when the mark of the beast is rolled out. But guys, the mark of the beast is a conscious, willing acceptance of and allegiance to the Antichrist. It is someone saying, I willingly worship the Antichrist, I reject Jesus Christ. It's going to be very clear what it is when it's rolled out. It's not going to be something where people are tricked into accidentally I didn't intend to take the mark of the beast and I did. No, it will be very clear what you're doing when you accept the mark of the beast. So you don't have to worry about accidentally taking the mark of the beast, anything like that. This will be a very clear, intentional act that people make during the tribulation to determine if they're for or against Jesus. And the Bible tells us that born-again Christians are the only ones who will not take this mark of the beast. Everyone else will take the mark of the beast and will worship the Antichrist. So that is where this world is headed, guys. We see all of these things being put in place right now. Again, there are so many signs that Jesus and the prophets said to look for that would indicate the coming tribulation period and the second coming of Jesus Christ at the end of that 7-year tribulation period. Jesus said in Mark 13, Luke 21, Matthew 24, when all of those signs converge, when you see them all coming, that is an indication that he is right at the door. He is near. Your salvation is near. Guys, we are seeing those signs converge right now, and that tells us the times in which we live right now. We need to take advantage of every day we have left to tell as many people as we can about the good news of Jesus Christ and the hope that we have in Jesus Christ. The reason why we can read all of these news stories, know the global tyranny that's coming as a result of all of these things being implemented, but still have joy and a smile on our faces because we know we have peace. We know that Jesus is already victorious and he's coming back again. And guys, that is the best news. So what do you think? Leave your comments below. Make sure to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. God willing, I will see you on Friday. Bye. If you want to learn more about the end times and Bible prophecy, make sure to visit my Substack at brittgillette.substack.com. There you'll find my latest videos and articles, as well as notes, where I share the latest news headlines, the articles I'm reading, and the videos I'm watching. Subscribe for free, and each new post on Substack will be sent directly to your email. Just scroll to the bottom of the homepage and hit the subscribe button. As an added bonus, your first welcome email will include a link to a copy of my free ebook, 7 Signs of the End Times. Also, make sure to check out all of my books. Just look up Britt Gillette on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple iBooks, Google Books, Kobo, or anywhere books are sold. Thanks for watching today, and until next time, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith.